live on stage. The sound
of Orlando.
So, is they ready?
Yes.
The sound
of Orlando.
You don't know?
You don't know, right? What's good, everybody? What is going on? It is MLK Day in Orlando. Across the United States, across the world right now, we're celebrating the power, the influence, the glory of Martin Luther King. And for a lot of people, they don't realize past all the speeches, past all the wonderful things he did, he was also one of the most hated men in the nation. Not only prior to him causing, as John Lewis would say, that good trouble, but also because he thought different. He believed in standing in his own lane and seeing a better world, even though most of the people at the time were blind to it. It's a special day to celebrate when you think about the idea of Capricorns and such levels of great Capricorns that have graced this nation. Shout out to Michelle Obama, LeBron James, Sade, the list goes on and on of all the great Capricorns in this world. I'm very blessed to be one. Shouts out to all my Capricorns out there, man. So we celebrate this day to give thanks for all the struggles, all the beatings, all the cursing, all the jail time, all the countless marching. We give it up to Martin Luther King, man, because once again, we live in a world that he was part of making. Without Martin Luther King, we wouldn't even be what we are today. So big up to Martin Luther King, man, and that legacy, and that entire legacy. Orlando gives it up to you. Welcome to the Soul Show with your boy Rome. And on this special occasion, with my next guest, man, he represents Old Town Sound. Very talented brother, singer-songwriter. He's part of that new wave, no pun intended. He's got a new project called Waves. He's been doing a lot of good stuff. I've heard it from my kids because he works, which I know I'm biased, but one of the best producers in Orlando, which is my son, Raz. Y'all may know him as Free Dolo. He works with my son, my oldest, and he's been working with my daughter as well. Big up Ansonia Serrano, right? So this is all about Old Town Sound right now, and I'm very honored to bring on this brother who is up and coming in the city. Please believe me, when you hear where this brother is coming from, I'm telling you, you're just only going to like him even more. Like I said, we represent the Old Town Sound here. We're all about our people. We're all about this city. The mantra of the show is our city, our story, and our sound. Don't let nobody lie to you. Don't let them tell you this ain't a sound to come out of, bro. This ain't a place to come out of. There's a lot of these people out here with that courage and are putting truth to power out here and working hard to be that one, to be that first one to knock down the entire wall so the entire city can come right behind them. But even if the one doesn't do it, we all gonna do it. Why? Because we are the sound of Orlando. You heard? Now, without further ado, let me bring on my brother from another mother. Actually, my nephew. All right? Let me bring on my nephew. Give it up one time for my man, Skyler.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Welcome to the Soul Show, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, man. Like I said, I've heard such great things about you, man. And the whole idea of this show was to give a voice to all of our people in a neutral way, so that way anyone can feel like they could have a place to not only tell about what they're doing, but to give insight of who they are, because we're living in a different world right now. I believe the more you can connect with your people, the more that you could become humanized to them, the longer and the more important your value will be to them long term. And that's to the city of Orlando, and not only the world, because a lot of other cities have that pride about itself. We're still a work in progress, but it starts right here, bro. So before we get started, all the people that may not know you that are tuning in right now, kind of give an idea of how you got started in the music, and what was kind of your first motivations, and what inspired you to make this your calling, if you will.
Absolutely. So for those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Skyler. I'm a 23-year-old producer, songwriter, singer. I kind of do everything when it comes to the music. I just love music. So for me, I'd say, music has definitely been inside of me my whole life. And I would say a lot of that comes from my mom. Shout out to Mama. She definitely put some good music in me, some Al Green, some Sam Cooke, you know what I'm saying? And I found probably around 10th grade, 10th, 11th grade, I really decided that I was going to go and really focus on this music stuff and take it as like a seriously as a career.
And what school did you go to, by the way?
Boone Brave alumni, man. Boone High School.
Shout out to Boone High School and all surrounding areas, man, because that is the place. That is the place, man. Continue, my brother.
Yeah. First of all, Boone High School. That's where I mentioned. I love the Serrano family. But yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah. So about 11th grade, that's when I really decided to take it seriously. I went to Full Sail University for about 6 months. It didn't really do too much for me in the sense of actual knowledge. That world just wasn't it for me, that environment. So I ended up leaving, but I left with some tools, with a computer and some equipment, and I kind of took off from there and was like, all right, music is my thing now.
We'll talk about Full Sail for a minute. Shout out to everybody that either went to Full Sail, went in the parking lot, whatever. Shout out to y'all. And talk about that experience in Full Sail and why it wasn't what it was for others for you. Like get into a little bit of that too.
Absolutely. So again, this is my experience, you know what I'm saying? I don't doubt anyone that goes to Full Sail. I still to this day work with people that either went to Full Sail for a period of time, some are actually alumni, you know what I'm saying? So I think Full Sail is a great place for people that are looking to get into those more technical sides of the music industry, as well as video production and things of that sort. So for me, the reason why I didn't really stay was, first of all, I was coming straight out of high school, going into Full Sail, which is like coming out of classes where I had 22, 23 students per class to now being in a class with 100, 200 people. Me being kind of an introvert at the time, I'm sitting all the way in the back of the class and falling asleep, to be honest. And
right.
I found 6 months later, like I really wasn't excelling. And it's not because of Full Sail, it's more just because that setup didn't really fit right with me and what I had going on and kind of how I learned things. So I made the decision to go ahead and leave for Full Sail, but I still kept my contacts, you know what I'm saying? And still working with Full Sail people to this day. So shout out to Full Sail.
Yes, sir. And Full Sail has always been that quasi meeting place, as most colleges are. You could go there and you wind up meeting all of these different people. And shout out to Da Vinci, he's taught there. And there's so many people that kind of graced Full Sail, but may not even went to that school. Shout out to my man Richie. You know, he started working at the school. Next thing you know, he's going to school there.
That's how it happened.
Yeah, that's how it happens. And you know, but for a lot of other people, it was kind of like a sensory overload in that, you know, maybe all of the things that they offered there was more of a distraction where you may have needed just a few things to learn and just focused on that. You know, uh, do you think learning everything, and I'm saying this based on your generation, do you think learning everything is where it's at, or learning specific things when it comes to music is where it's at?
That's a great question. I'd say it really just depends on the person. Like, I like to think I'm kind of a jack of all trades in the sense of the music. Like, I play instruments, I produce, I sing, I rap. I don't mind going and dibbling and dabbling in different genres because I'm a songwriter, and the reason why I do that is so that I could keep my music open and be able to make money no matter what. You know, I could have a pop artist come up to me and say, "Hey, I need a song. I got you." Have a hip hop artist come up to me and say, "Hey, I need a song. I got you." You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, if you're trying to be one of those people that really helps out on the back end, you know, and does like songwriting and production and stuff, I'd say it's actually kind of good to keep your options open and learn as much as you possibly can across the board. Now, when it comes to actual artistry, I feel like it's very important to know your lane and know who your audience is. You feel me? So in that sense, if you're trying to be an artist and just solely focus on artistry, I think then you should probably bring in the focus and you know what I'm saying? Like, focus
Right.
on something specific in that sense.
So you alluded, what drew you into the singing aspect and songwriting, and then, you know, because for a lot of people, you know, and I probably just speak for my generation right now. My generation was more of the trade, right? So it was it was more or less like, well, not trade. It was more or less like a 4-year college, if you will. You know, we're all studying to be the lawyer or the doctor. You know, the MC, the art, the singer, you know, the DJ, you know, and you just stuck with that. But your generation is, to your point, it's like going to trade school. You know, you're getting like these different certifications. So I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna rhyme. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna make these beats. You know, and you go to that particular school for like 6 months, and then boom, you're done. You got your certificate. That's all you need. Um, how to your point when you're talking about openness, how liberating is that for you to feel like you could do anything? Now, and I'm talking about my generation, because my generation, I'm just giving you like a real example. I came from a generation that was like, you know, if a rapper tried to sing, we'd be looking at him like, wait, yeah, bro.
No, I feel you.
Man, get that song shit off here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they would look at us like we crazy. But y'all do that freely. How liberating is that? To be able to feel like, maybe you always had it, but just describe for anybody that's in my generation pool that looked at that like it was the worst thing since Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. So actually, it's funny that you say like for me, like I was probably always like that, because it really wasn't. Growing up, because I loved R&B music so much, when it came to like the new age rap stuff, I was like completely against it. You know, Future came out, and I'm like, oh, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So even I had to kind of grow and open up. But once I did allow myself to open up and not even put myself in these boxes, then it's extremely liberating, and to the point of you know, people being able to dibble and dabble in different areas. One person that came to my mind was Young Bird, today known as Hitmaker. You know what I'm saying? Bird started off rapping, doing his thing.
Right.
Now he's got own label, and he's hit records for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So now so I wouldn't put a box in boxing.
Right. And you just dropped some jewels there, bro. Because really, if you look at what's going on, let's just say what happened this last year, for a lot of artists, they're having to realize that they got to put that open sign out, right? Like they gotta be open for business if they even have a chance to kind of do whatever they want to do, because 2020, I mean, COVID shut everything down.
Absolutely, really did.
And so if you're in a box, it's going to be very difficult for you to even try to compete. I mean, let alone be successful.
That's a fact. And like, I mean, look at it. Like, people are doing live shows, like how we're live right now doing an interview. People are doing
Right.
shows like this now where they get paid to do these shows. You know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta be able to, you gotta be like water, you gotta be able to flow with the times, you gotta be able to move as things change. Like now we're not doing live shows anymore. So all right, everybody's got to figure out a different way to make their money, because live shows is a great way for people to make money in the music industry.
Right. And you hear that, Orlando? You just said, the hell with them boxes. They only meant for packing.
Facts.
Right. I mean, now what was your moment that you felt like, because everyone knows artistry is about 50% or maybe 60% art, and the rest is confidence. When did you feel like, okay, I could do this? Like, when was that moment for you? I don't care what nobody says. Everyone has that moment. Where it clicks.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be honest. For me, I've kind of always just been that kind of person. Like,
Right.
whatever I put my mind to, whatever I say I'm gonna do, then that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it any other way. Like, before I really got into music, and my family can attest to it. I was Mr. Sports Player. I played football, then I played basketball. I actually played basketball at noon. And I was like, all right, I'm going to the NBA. I don't care what you say. I don't care how tall I am. I don't care. Like, I'm going to outwork you, and that's just going to be it.
Right.
So when it came to the music, of course, in the beginning, there was nervousness and things that I had to get over. But I feel like, just like with anything, once you do it over and over and over and over again, you get to a point where the nerves kind of start to fade away, and then you're just having fun with it. So I don't even really too much these days think about it in a standpoint of confidence. It's just like, I'm having fun,
Right.
and I already know. Even if I don't have it right now, I'm gonna work my butt off, and I'm gonna look at myself with how do I say it? Look at myself with an eagle eye. I gotta make sure that I'm on point, even if nobody else does. So
Right. And talk about that. Is that a tough picture for you to, I guess, maybe sometimes present to others? Like, you may see the vision, you see it clearly, you know where you're going, but is it tough sometimes being an artist and not being able to illustrate that same picture the way it's so easy for you? For you, you don't even need tools to do it. Like you said, you're in that zone, you're confident, you're ready to go. But how hard is it in your life to illustrate for others around you?
So I would say it's not too difficult, because I don't really think about it like that. Like, the way I see it, like, I'm gonna present myself. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna show my work. And if you choose to believe in it, then you choose to believe in it. And if you don't, then that's 100% cool. I actually have a song. I just released a project called Quincy Forever for my brother, and a song on that project is called Possible, featuring my dog Miles Da Vinci. And it's funny that we bring this up, because it's kind of what I talk about in that song. Like, they don't know what's possible until it's possible, because
Right.
they just don't know. So you just got to do what you got to do, and then you show them that it's possible. Then everyone will hop on the wave. That's how it always happens. And you don't take any animosity forward. You just take it with a grain of salt. All right, you didn't believe at that point, but you believe now, and I thank you for supporting.
Man, you hear this, man? You hear this, Orlando? All you gotta do is talk to these young people, and you will hear some gems. This is dope, man. I'm from. I mean, I lived in Kansas City for 12 years, and the state's motto is you got this is show me state. So, yeah, exactly. Sometimes, people do not see what you're saying until you show them what you're saying.
Big time.
And to have the attitude, because we do live in a time that everything has been kind of reduced down to the thick ass gravy of like or hate, right? So it's you either love it or you hate it, and that's not a reality of life. First of all, that's not even like real. Like people have more emotions than that. But are you a part of the mindset or tend to see that a lot in your generation of work going on right now, where people are so in believing that people hate because they may have this idea that, hey, maybe I can help you this way, maybe if you did it this way, because there's the gap between the young and the old tends to grow a lot because you have two warring factions, right? You have on the one end, as a kid, and I remember as a kid, I didn't want to listen to anything my parents had to say. And but I listened. I just didn't let them know I was listening, right?
That's the key right there.
Right. And then you have on the other side, the older generation tends to feel some kind of way about the young generation, as if thinking that they don't respect them. And so you have this warring faction, and then it kind of whittles out to everyone else. If you don't like what I'm doing, you hate me. Or if you give some advice, you're hating. So it just kind of leaves people in corners. Have you experienced any critique of where you're going and what you're trying to do from your fellow people in Orlando? Was it helpful? Was it not helpful? I mean, just kind of explain that real quick.
Absolutely. So I'd say from my point of things, because of what I said before, how I keep an eagle eye on myself. So if you're seeing it, if anyone in Orlando or anybody else is seeing it, it's because I know that it's good enough. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even showing something that I don't think is good or I don't think is ready, in that sense. So maybe going off of your question a little bit.
No, you're fine.
One more time.
No, you're fine, bro. I mean, I like what you're saying there. I mean, it's still your story at the end of the day, and I just want you to tell it like how you're listening to it. Talk about as well. What do you feel about Orlando's reception towards new artists, and do you see or feel that the city supports young artists like yourself?
Yeah, totally. So honestly, from my perspective, I think. So first of all, Orlando has endless potential. Orlando has so many great artists in all different genres doing some really great stuff. You know what I'm saying? So from my perspective, and me being here, having performed in this city since I was like 16 years old, I feel like Orlando is slightly cliquey. And I feel like if we kind of get out of that cliquey side and really just look at everybody on an individual basis in terms of artistry, you know what I'm saying, and what you really bring to the table, I think we can so elevate Orlando like crazy. And for example, take people like Tyler Yahweh or Danny Lay. A lot of people don't know that Danny Lay actually went to school here. Like these people, they're great artists, but for some reason they have to leave Orlando, get big, and come back. Like, that's not necessary. We can really support our artists here, and we should, just support good artists. I feel like a lot of what happens in Orlando is people kind of just supporting friends, which is cool. Of course, you should support your friends, but support your friends because they're great. You know what I'm saying? And push your friends to be greater in that sense.
Right.
I think Orlando has endless potential, and Orlando's definitely on the come up. Everybody else need to watch out because we coming up.
Hell yeah. Where was your first performance at? What
Ooh,
venue?
that's crazy. All right, so I guess I got a couple in this sense. My very first performance in general, that was outside of school because I was in chorus in high school. Uh, I looked online one day on Google and I just looked up open mics. This was when I was in high school. And I found some bar that was over in like the College Park area. So here I am as this little 16, 17-year-old going into this little dive bar with my guitar, singing R&B songs to all these people. It was super cringy, but it was a great experience. You got to start somewhere. But after that, I'd say that I got my real start. Actually, shout out to Tails. We used to do an open mic across the street from ORMC. There was a little bar slash, what was it? It was called Dockside, I want to say.
Dockside.
Yeah. And we used to do an open mic there called The Sesh. And The Sesh really kickstarted a lot here in Orlando. And that was like my first like consistent, all right, I'm there every week or every month and I'm performing.
Shout out to DJ Sammy B from the legendary Jungle Brothers on the check-in. Salute, my dude. Shout out to my man Trees on the check-in. Shout out to Patricia on the check-in. Shout out to my man Ricky Bonds. My man, we love you. Thank you for supporting the show. The first time I heard a shout out to ORMC. So shout out to anybody who's ever been in that emergency room, bro. You've seen stuff. So when you performed, what was one of the biggest performances you've done so far in Orlando?
Biggest. See, I've done some really weird, different performances that no one would even know unless.
Well, speak on it, my brother. Talk to the city.
I used to. Okay, so there's a nonprofit organization here in Orlando called the Bridges of Light Foundation, and then there's also one called the Foundation for Foster Children. Right. So when I was younger, I used to do shows for them, and it was all for like donations and stuff, so that they could build up so that they could build up their businesses and help the community and stuff like that. So through them, I think those were the biggest shows that I've ever gotten. Like once I performed with Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC, and
Nice.
that was in front of a crowd of, I want to say, like 400, and actually performed at Full Sail Live once in front of a crowd of like maybe 600. So those would be the biggest spots.
And how was that experience for you when you're performing and you're looking at this amount of people? What are you thinking in your head, and does it seem real? I've DJ'd in stadiums, House of Blues, clubs, arenas. They all had their own kind of tone to them, but it's almost like all the energy in that entire building gets focused on you, and you almost kind of got like you have to mentally prepare for that, and you have to be like this absorption of it as well. So talk about how that made you feel being in front of all those people.
Absolutely. So I'll talk about them separately. So the one with Chris Kirkpatrick, that was a little easier. Thank you, yo, shout out Chucky. That one was a little easier, I'd say, because I had Chris with me. You feel me? Like, it just felt better. I just felt better to actually have someone on stage with me. He wasn't on stage with me the whole time, and I was actually performing one of my original songs. So I don't know. Like my take on going on stage is always the same. Just go and have fun. As long as you're having fun, You're not going to worry about who's in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And I look at everybody in the crowd not as a bunch of crowd members. They're a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even if they're way far in the back of the room, I can still,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, I can still lock eyes with them. I can still, you know, have that connection as a person to person, not, oh, I'm this figure that you're up here just worshiping, you know?
As a songwriter, what do you know, you know about writer's block. Um, some people tend to have it more than others. What what tends to be the most difficult thing as a songwriter that you have to do?
Hmm. As far as songwriting, for me, it just depends on the song and it just depends on the time. I was actually just thinking about this today. I feel like I have waves. Like I'll have a good 3, 4 day wave where I'm on it. Like every melody coming to my head, every lyric, it's just like boom, 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 boom. I'm hitting it. And then I'll go through a spell for a few days where I'm like, man, I'm just making trash right now. Other people might think it's good, but to me, I'm like, yeah, no. This is like not up to standard. So it just happens in waves for me. Um,
Is it true that artists, uh, and I pose this to you, is it true that as an artist you're your worst critic, or do you feel like everyone else is your worst critic?
I feel like as an artist, you should be your worst critic, even if you aren't. Like, you have to be able to, uh, you know, decipher whether or not, you know, or where on a scale like your music is. Because if not, and if you can't do that realistically, then you're just kind of throwing things out to the wolves. Like I actually spent a lot of time studying music, although it wasn't, you know, me opening up a book and reading a book. It was still studying, you know, me going through the United States top 50 list, really listening to the mixes, listening to how people are structuring songs, you know, like is it hook, verse, hook out, or, you know, these days people are making shorter songs. So, you know, like I feel like it all boils down to really studying, and I did my studying, and I'm still studying. I'm still a student. You know, the game continues to change. So
You hear that, Orlando man? The man said he is a student.
have to be.
Man, what? I mean, when we're talking about the city of Old Zone, Old Town Sound, ORL, when we're talking about this place, what are some of the funniest things you've seen as an artist in the world of music? Where, you know, maybe you're in a session and you just see something that you can't unsee, or you're, you know, on stage, you see something that you can't unsee. Talk about, just give me one funny moment that you were like, whoa, I didn't know this came with that.
Bad man. So I feel like you have a lot of little moments like that. You know, just
Oh yeah,
depending
yeah.
on where you're at. You know, and especially when you go in studios and stuff, you always have different characters. Like I remember this one time I was at East Room Suites downtown, and I was at this session, and this guy, this was the first time I'd seen somebody do this. This dude actually had someone come into the session to do his ad libs for him because it's like his energy on the track was cool, 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 but he just couldn't do his ad libs. And this dude went and just did the craziest, most outrageous ad libs. I was like, you know what? But he elevated the track like crazy. So I was like, yo, bro, give my dog his little percentage, you know what I'm saying? And keep it pushing. But I think that was a pretty cool experience.
No, no. Um, talk about you said you're producer, right?
Yes, sir.
So for all my producers out here, um, what are some of your most, you don't have to give them all away, but just what are your go-to tools as a producer? Like if the house is burning down and you can only bring this along, what is it?
See, I was actually just talking to my roommate about this yesterday. I feel like for me, because I kind of got myself acquainted to working and using less. You know, like I haven't always been the most fortunate. haven't always been in these big studios and stuff. So there were time periods in my life where I was down and out, and I had nothing but my laptop.
Right.
So I can sit with just my laptop and produce a full beat. Like I don't really need anything else. But everything else does add to it. Like if I do have the whole keyboard, then I can add my own chord progressions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, all I need is my computer. And in reality, it's 2021. You got GarageBand on your phone. I could probably make a beat on my phone, to be honest.
This is where we're heading. I'm waiting till the day they just come out with this Pro Tools on your phone now. They come up with that.
It would be crazy.
I mean, we're heading that direction. But shout out to all I have in this world is my Mac and my PC. That's amazing because, I come from the analog world, and Raz, he'd tell you about it. Like, everything was for, you had to buy this, you had to buy this. Everything was so separate. And so as I watched kind of time evolve, and now you get this MacBook and you can put everything on it, and it's just like, wow. Are you a fan of the analog sound when you go into the studio? And are you noticing these plugins trying to replicate that warmth in that analog? And you said something about mixing earlier. What is your take on the mixers, either, the engineers that you're using? Is this generation kind of wanting the return of that analog sound, or are we still in digital mode?
All right. So personally, I've done both. I've done I've been at bigger studios where we recorded with all analog gear, and then I've been in my bedroom with my Mac and a little interface. So I think personally, I think analog sounds amazing. I really do. Do I know how to use all that outboard gear?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but it definitely makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? So, in that sense, yes. And to answer your other question, I think we definitely are just going to continue moving more and more into the digital world. I think more and more people are now getting into smaller pieces of outboard gear. You know what I'm saying? But going back full analog, I don't really see that coming. Especially when you have like microphones like the Slate mics that are
Right.
ear mics. Now instead of having a collection of microphones, it's like $100,000 at a studio because you got a $20,000 mic there, $10,000 mic there. You get one microphone for about a band, and it does a pretty decent job of emulating almost every other mic on the market.
You hear that? You hear that, Slate Digital? He just gave you a shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Slate. Send me a microphone, Mr. Steven Slate. I need one.
Man, Slate Digital. I mean, their equipment, their plugins, in general, their mixer. It's just what they're doing over there, and I think that's no, it's not Slate. But what they're doing over there is just incredible as far as the equipment is concerned. And to your point, a lot of people don't realize, man, these microphones are no joke. You're going to pay that sound you hear when you hear that person sing on it. It's very little done to that thing because that's how good that mic sounds in a treated room. Talk about
me personally. I love a vintage U87. I won't add anything.
287. Shout out to Neumann. Let's go. Yes. What's your studio of choice out here?
Studio of choice? My bedroom.
I heard that.
Yeah, I mean, I love East Room downtown. East Room's a cool vibe because.
Where's that at? Where's that at, everyone?
Downtown Orlando, baby. Right by the across the street from the History Center. East Room Suites is a great studio. What's the other one? There's another studio that I like to go to out in Longwood, but I can't lie, I forgot the name.
If anybody tuning in knows what studio he's talking about,
I bet they
Please
got long
put
way.
that in the comment thread.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Millennium 3 Studios too. My dog Vanessa.
Millennium. Yeah. My man Malachi does a lot of work out there, man. DJ Malachi.
What? Malachi, my dog. I love Malachi.
Oh, you know Malachi?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. That's my dude, man. Yes, bro. That's what I'm telling you, man. Orlando is so small when it's like a small town and a big city all at the same time. Um, we're all interconnected. We're all family here and don't even know it. Which is the amazing part of why I'm like, why don't we hear a bigger footprint of all these talented artists in all media out here? I mean, I'm talking about like radio, the newspapers,
Right.
like TV. Like we should be seeing us, at least locally here.
Absolutely.
Like nothing.
Absolutely.
Do you feel DJs have an obligation to play your music, or do you feel like you got to earn that?
I definitely feel like you have to earn that for sure. DJs don't. DJs are a staple in the music industry, no matter what city you're in. You feel me? The DJs are the ones that are putting music on. A lot of people are going to the clubs. You get the DJs to play your songs at the clubs. Now everybody that's in those clubs are actually, listening to your tracks and stuff. So I think you have to do your due diligence. You gotta contact DJs, and you gotta come with leverage. You know what I'm saying? Some DJs you might have to drop them off some change. Me personally, I don't pay DJs, but I don't doubt people that do.
Right. What's your my man Chuck E. Cheese has a question. He said, are you doing any work out in the East Coast? If not, where?
I mean, not necessarily. It's social media is crazy this world. So we could do work from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even matter. You could be all the way across the world. You hit me up, we can work. You know what I'm saying?
If you had an artist that you could work with, who would that be and why?
Ooh, what a question. An artist to work with, who and why? Dang, it's hard to boil it down to one, but I'm just gonna say what just came up to the top of my head, and that was Kalani. I love Kalani. Kalani, I just think she has an amazing voice. You know what I'm saying? I love her story, how she came up off of America's Got Talent, and she was in a group, and she really had to prove herself. Like Kalani was like the underdog story right there. And just her vibe is amazing. I feel like her music is super colorful, and I would love to work with Kalani.
Shout out to Kalani, man. If you had one wish in Orlando to see one thing happen, what would that be and why?
I'd want label executives, because I know that there are, people from different labels here and there dropping in and out, But what these label executives do, what I think, or what I've seen, is they contact certain people in the city and they listen to those certain people's opinions. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's all they are. Those are just certain people's opinions. So I think what I would have happen is have label executives take what I call the DJ Nails approach. Shout out to DJ Nails. And really go out into the city and really see these shows, see people performing live. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's where you're going to find the true talent. There's a lot of people that are dropping music, putting something on SoundCloud. It's super easy these days to get your music on all platforms. Anybody can do that. But when you see a person perform, or at least for me, that's where it solidifies. Oh, this person is an artist. Right. Is really here to stay. So I would have these label representatives actually come out into these rooms and to these shows and really watch these Orlando artists go.
Real quick, tell everybody how you met my son. Shout out to Free Dolo. And how you guys started working together.
Absolutely, man. So Me and Dolo. So I actually went to elementary school with one of his best friends, Rhett, and then me and Rhett had a class together in high school. And I want to say it was my senior year, and Louis was the year before me, so Louis was already graduated. Rhett was like, "Hey, I have this friend that makes beats," and he showed me one of his beats. I was like, "Oh, bet." So then we linked up. But actually, it's a funny story too, because what ended up happening was he showed me this beat. I wasn't too fond of the beat, not gonna lie, and I didn't want to pay for it. So I was like, "Nah, I don't know, bro." But then later on, I heard this different kind of track because I mean, you know Louis, but for those of y'all that don't know, Dolo makes EDM music.
Right.
That's his personal music.
Right.
So I heard this song that was like EDM hip hop mixed together, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" I hit up Dolo, and I was like, "Yo, bro, can you make a beat for me like this?" And he was like, "Yes, I can. But how about we do this? How about I'll make you as many beats as you want, as long as you do collab tracks, and just never say no."
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, all right, ain't nothing to lose. Like, this is me in the beginning, not really making beats that much. You know, I was trying, but my beats were nowhere near on his level.
Right.
And it was like, oh, bet. You know, I get a 100% producer that's always going to make my beats for me, and that's always going to work with me. And what ended up happening, because he was like, all right, do these tracks for me, he started having me dibble and dabble into different genres. And that really helped open me up to really writing and just doing music in all different genres. It really just opened up my mind uh, to a whole new world of music, to be honest. And shout out to Dolo. I love you, bro.
Shout out to Free Dodo. My son, man, love him to death. He's very talented dude. Master of the damn Ableton.
Guys,
I'm a late comer to Ableton.
masterclass.
Yeah. He needs to he needs to do that, because the stuff that I heard him doing, you know, back in the day, and then hearing what he's doing now is just insane. And he's never switched up. He's still on that Ableton. I've messed around with so many different things, and now I'm starting to mess with Ableton now. But shout out to all my Ableton users, because
I feel like Ableton is the DAW for DJs. I feel like Logic is more for instrument players. That one's more for DJs because you can really manipulate the sounds like crazy.
Right.
DJs just have a different kind of ear for the music.
Right. It when it first came out, I felt like it was just very convoluted. You kind of had to do three things to get to do the one thing. But now, Ableton was it 10? Yeah, 10. They did a lot of improvements on Ableton to kind of get that thing where it's you got the idea, boom, and you're able to just kind of run through it and get out.
At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about workflow. As soon as you get something, you want to be able to boom.
Right. You don't want to have three things in front of your idea and think that's going to work. But shout out to everybody that started on early computers, man, where, you know, the Pro Tools we have now, we went through hell with that old Pro Tools.
I can imagine. I'm glad I'm in this era.
Right. We went through hell trying to get that damn Pro Tools to work. We used to call it Fruity Loops back in the day. You know, FL Studio came a long way.
Yeah.
You had to do 12 different things to get things done on there, but there's still people using Cool Edit Pro, SoundForge, Acid, Mixcraft. So, you know, it's really about what feels good to you to make whatever you need to make on it. Some people swear by Logic, like they just do everything in Logic and never get out of Logic. And that works. I mean, you know, if it works, there's no reason to fix it. That's my
exactly.
Real quick, where can they get your music from? And talk about your new project, Waves.
Absolutely. So you can find my music everywhere. under Skyler, period. The reason for that, if y'all know the show Breaking Bad, the wife in that show is Walter White. His wife, his name's Skyler White, which is my full name. I used to go by my full name, but since that came out, I kind of took it over. So I changed and simplified it to Skyler with a period. So on all platforms, that could be iTunes, Amazon, whole nine, everything, YouTube, you can just find me under Skyler period. And yeah, and so the new project. So Waves is actually a collection of shows that we're doing, and Waves 3 coming soon. We don't have flyers for that yet, but it's going to be in February here coming up. But I actually did just release a project called Quincy Forever, and this project is super special to me, man. Uh, Back in March of last year, March 13th, up in Philadelphia, my brother Quincy Hugh White was murdered. He was uh, he was shot at a Chinese store over there, and he died on site. And since then, it's just been an emotional roller coaster for myself and my family. And I released this project. I created these songs and released this project in honor of my brother. So, the project's called Quincy Forever. It's 5 songs because my brother was a fifth child. My mom likes to call us by numbers. I'm number 7. He's number 5. So 5 songs. And yeah, it's a project called Quincy Forever. You can find it everywhere now. The single About Time, the video's out now on YouTube. And I have another video coming up soon.
Sorry for your loss, my brother. Um, it, if you're black in this world, you are going to deal with some death close to you, and it's never good. You can never swallow it any easier. That's one less of us on the planet, which is not good. One less of us in this country, which is not good. Um, and that leads me to my next question. It is MLK Day. Um, what do you see that can be done to relieve some of the pressure that is not only on us as a people, but us as a society, given all of what you know about what's been going on, Black Lives Matter, the marches, all of these things? Talk about, from your POV, what do you see for 2021 and our role in it?
Absolutely. So obviously, 2020 and the year before were very rough years for us. We lost a lot of people, a lot of our own people, due to a lot of different things, police brutality, ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So always across the board, I think what is necessary is first of all education. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to educate our own people. We can't just leave it up to the government or to other people. Like we gotta look at each other as brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? How do you change it for everybody? Is by making sure that everybody's on the same page mentally and everybody understands things from an education perspective. And then on another note, we absolutely need like reform in the police side of things. Like they're out of control, and it's
Right.
obvious. They move with emotion, whereas we're not allowed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like me as a black man, I can get pulled over, and I have to stay calm, right? While this guy comes up to me and he's afraid of me for whatever reason. And I've actually even had some situations with stuff like that myself. Probably about 4 years ago, yeah, 3 4 years ago, I was jumped at a club over by UCF. I was jumped by club bouncers, and they beat me up, pop a blood vessel in my eye, whatever. And then they go and they take me out, and of course, I'm a young black dude, so cops weren't hearing what I had to say. Like I'm like, hey, they just jumped me. They're like, you smell like marijuana. I'm like, bro, like I just came out of the club. Like, what are you talking about? But I ended up having to do a year of probation because of that, and I just know for a fact that if I was, for lack of a better term, if I was a little white boy, and I was going to UCF or something, I had my little blonde hair, so they wouldn't have done me like that.
Right.
So I think things need to change. A lot of it, though, like I said, starts with education. Us educating ourselves and educating our people, so that we, as a people, can really get ourselves out of this. Because nobody's going to reach down and help us. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Right. And do and once again, sorry for your loss. Do you feel that because we've put ourselves, let's just talk about Orlando, because Orlando does its fair share of murders in the nation.
Yes, it does.
We're quick to kill each other here over nothing. But do you feel that we held the responsibility as artists, influencers, or people in general to kind of at least start the conversation with our brothers and sisters to let them know there's more emotions than love or hate, right? Like there's more emotions in there, and why is always the response to something maybe they don't understand? Maybe if they would have just walked away for a minute and went down the street,
Absolutely.
chilled out for a minute, or had some people around them that were egging the destruction of you and him, like where
Absolutely.
do you think we could do better as a society to kind of to kill this senseless killing over nothing?
Absolutely. So I think we have a certain amount of uh, leverage. Um, but a lot of this stuff, I look at it as pop culture,
Right.
and I blame the people that are pushing it. I blame big companies.
Right.
I blame labels.
Right.
Because labels know exactly who they're pushing to the forefront. They know exactly who they're putting on that billboard up in Times Square. You know what I'm saying? So they have these people and these artists that could be influential, to be positive, that are coming across the desk, that are being sent to them. But who do they choose? They choose to showcase the people that are doing these things, and that are talking about killing each other, and that are idolizing selling drugs and stuff like that. They're choosing to do that. Why? You know what I'm saying? Personally, I think it's a way to keep us down, and that's where like I said before, where that education comes into play. Where no matter what you put in front of my face, I'm educated.
Well, and I'm glad you keep saying that, because education is not just what can be found at a school or a university. What about the education of sharing information with each other? I know a lot of times it's probably the hardest thing you can ever do is tell another black man something,
Facts.
especially if you're a black man.
See,
'Cause they're looking at you like, you don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's normally where a lot of these conversations lead, because to your point, we've we've been bred to be this way. The messaging, the conditions, the what we've been subjected to all these years. But when does it stop? When does it become an excuse? And so we have to be able to say, okay, well, you know what? I know something, and I know he don't know it. When do we start doing that and just start sharing without feeling that his gain is my loss? And for a lot of us, this is where we're at. This city describes it in so many ways. You know, if I support you, I lose, which is insane.
Right.
And people could say, no, that's not happening. Yeah, the hell it is happening.
Yep.
Because we support people that never give anything back, that don't take anybody with them. We support people that leave us forever the consumer, right? You said something earlier about being a student. You know, we should start being students of each other.
Absolutely.
Because to your point, that education really is, how do we love each other better?
Facts. Big facts. So I'd say for me, it's always important for me to educate. Now, is everybody willing to actually accept that? Not necessarily, because at the end of the day, you know, I am a 23-year-old dude. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are going to take my age, and they're going to be like, "All right, this guy don't know what he's talking about. He's only been here for 23 years." But that doesn't stop me from still putting forth my knowledge. You know, and especially when it comes to cancel culture. Cancel culture today is super strong. You know, like if you don't follow on what the masses are following on, it could cancel you out of, you know, out of all social media and stuff, which is somewhat important if you're trying to get into this game.
Well, you
What?
know what's so funny about that cancel culture that a lot of people don't realize? Like at the same time, all this canceling is happening, and I'm not saying that some of the stuff deserves it,
Absolutely.
but some of the stuff would have canceled itself anyway.
I swear.
It's going there anyway. That's the sun's gonna blow up 1 billion years from now. That's just what it is, right? You know, it's not about what. The only thing we need to be worrying about what's being canceled is love. The canceling comes from hate,
Keys, exactly.
from jealousy, envy. You know,
for some reason they're not looking at that person as a person.
right?
That person, that artist, you know, Usher, he's a man. You know, he wakes up and he puts his pants on left leg then right leg, or right leg then left leg if he's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That him?
Sorry about that.
Yeah. I was where the hell did that come from? But you know, like I said on MLK Day, man, I'm loving to get your take about all things the people, because you're going to be facing this. You're a representative of this city. Everybody could care about your music, but do they care about you? And part of that story has to be told so that people can acknowledge you, not for what you have, but for who you are.
Exactly.
And I think, like I said, I think the education at the end of the day lies on our ability to get to know each other and stop hating each other because we see ourselves in each other. You know, we're all one big family here, and we your generation deserves better, our generation deserves better, and there's no reason in 12 hells why you being 23, 21 years old shouldn't be able to talk to my 40-year-old ass. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason. That's corporate interest. That's society's bias and bull.
Absolutely.
It's the prevention of why we feel like you out of your lane by talking to me. And you in my city, bro. There's no way in the hell why we shouldn't be talking. We here together. And the more of us talk, the stronger we gonna get, and it's gonna be unstoppable, man. This city is gonna be unstoppable. We ain't trying to save the world, man. We just trying to save our city. That's it.
Orlando is so on the way to. I can't wait to see it all really come into fruition. I know things are happening right now that people are really talking about, people don't really know about. You know, there's a lot of people popping in and out. So the future for Orlando is great, for sure.
Yes, sir. Last but not least, before we get you out of here, man, shout out to everybody tuning into the Soul Show. I'm with my brother, my nephew Skyler on the show tonight. Before we get out of here, I need to know, just to get some insight, talk to the people in the city. Top 5 dead or alive artists right now that you feel are your top 5 dead or alive. Go.
That sucks. All right. I have to put Pac on there. Have to. Pac, amazing. Now I'm going to jump to the new stuff. I'd say there hasn't been one song from DaBaby that I haven't liked.
Shout out to DaBaby. Yep.
Yeah, he definitely brings a different vibe. Don Toliver. Recently, I found that Don Toliver's his melody game is crazy. Like, I find that it always gets stuck in my head. Dang, 5 is not enough. I love music.
Yeah, man.
Dang. All right, what's that?
Like you're leaving a burning house, and you can only take these 5 items. That's it. You'll be fine.
Throw my girl Kalani on there.
Kalani, shout out to Kalani. Let's go.
Now I got to go back to the oldies. I'm gonna pull Al Green.
Shout out to Al Green. Haven't heard him in the top 5 yet, but shout out to Al Green. Yes.
I always go with Al Green. And then last one, I'm gonna pull somebody from the rap side. That's J. Cole. All his old mixtapes, I love it.
Oh man, shout out to J. Cole, man. One of the nastiest to ever do it, man. And he's a positive influence on the entire world from his take representing North Carolina.
What?
Yeah, man. It's been a pleasure to have you, man. I wanted the city to know that our young people are brewing some heavy ass coffee out here in the ozone, and y'all gonna feel it here soon. And like I said, I'm also, like I said, very proud of you working with my son and my daughter. That means everything. And like I said, we at the Soul Show, we support what you're doing, man. And please, you'll always be welcome on this show. Continue to do what you're doing. And hey, man, we support you. We got you.
Thank you. Yes, shout out to all your kids. Shout out to the whole family. I love y'all. It's always family, for real.
Give it up one time for my man, Skyler. Let's go.
Yo, thank everybody for tuning in.
Yes, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yes, you already know, people. This is the Soul Show, where we're talking to our city, where we're giving our city a voice, because you know what? It's our city, our story, our sound. And this is Martin Luther King Day, man. We're so glad that you joined the show tonight. Love all y'all, man. Shout out to Chucky Trees on the check-in. Shout out to my man, DJ Sammy B from the legendary Jungle Brothers. Shout out to you. Shout out to my man, Ricky. Shout out to my man. Who else is on here too? No, I don't see him. Shout out to Ricky Barnes. Shout out to Patricia on the check-in. We love all y'all, man. So happy that you guys join us 5 days a week at 7 p.m. We know it's dinner time, man, but we're talking that dinner time grind, man. You know? And tomorrow, we're going to have Hakeem Green on the show. If you don't know who Hakeem Green, all we want to do is spark Madism. He's coming on tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the rest of this week. We got so many great people. Avant, MC Shy D. Man, it's just, I'm just blessed, bro, to be able to do this here. Thank you guys for joining the show. And we will see you, tomorrow. God willing, we will see you tomorrow. This show has been sponsored by 5-Star Graphics and Tom's Sons Mask. Please go onto that website, tomsons.com, and check out my man Jesse Jazz on 5-Star Graphics. If you need printing Please check him. And we're out.
Live on stage, the sound.
Up Orlando.
So, if they ready.